There are often times when you want to change the color of a web graphic. Maybe you're refreshing colors in a site redesign, or maybe you want different color versions of the same graphic to put on different web pages. As long as you've had the foresight to place different pieces of artwork on different layers in the source file, recoloring will be quick using the method that I'll show you here. Here I have a file with individual pieces of artwork on separate layers, including the flowers that you see here. If this file had only one layer, it would be difficult to select the flowers to change their color only because they do have these soft edges. But fortunately, the flowers are on their own layer surrounded by transparent pixels. I'm going to turn off the visibility of all the other layers temporarily to show you that by moving over to the flowers layer, holding down the Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC, and clicking the eye icon to the left of the flowers layer. So you can see them there on their own layer and this gray and white pattern that represents transparent pixels on a layer. I'll go back to the Layers panel and Option or Alt click on that eye icon again to bring all the other layers back. Now I want to fill the flowers only. To do that, I'm going to click on the flowers layer to select that layer, and then I'm going to use the transparent lock, which is the first of these 4 lock icons at the top of the Layers panel. I'll click on that lock to activate it, and you can then see a lock icon on the flowers layer. Now I'm going to choose a color for the flowers from the swatches panel. I'll click on this purple. The purple appears as the foreground color in the toolbox, and now I'm going to use the Edit command to fill the flowers. I'll go to the Edit menu at the top of the screen and down to the Fill command here, and I'll leave everything as is, and in the Fill dialog box I'll use the default setting, which is to fill with the foreground color. I'll click OK, and the only thing that fills with purple are the flowers on the flowers layer. That's because the transparent lock has protected all of the transparent pixels on the layer from filling with color. Now let me show you what happens if you don't use the transparent lock icon. I'm going to select a different layer, the lines layer, and I'm not going to click on the transparent lock icon this time. I'll go up to the swatches panel and I'll select another color for the lines, this dark blue. And then I'm going to use the Fill command. Now I could go up and choose Edit Fill again, but I'd like to show you a shortcut for filling, and this is one of the shortcuts that I suggest you remember because you'll be using it so often. The shortcut to fill with the foreground color is Option plus Delete on a Mac. That's Alt plus Backspace on a PC. So I'll press that key command, and the entire lines layer has filled with the foreground color. And that's not what I wanted. I just wanted to show you what happens if you don't use the transparent lock. So I'm going to undo that by pressing Command Z on a Mac, that's Control Z on a PC, and I'll try again with the lines layer still selected. I'll click on the transparent lock icon and use the shortcut for filling again, Option Delete or Alt Backspace. So that works great on a pixel-based layer. Now what if you have a type layer? In Photoshop, type layers are made up of vector-based type rather than pixels. So when I select the type layer here, the one with the special T on it, notice that the transparent lock icon is grayed out. It's not available. But that's okay because on a type layer, I don't need it. All I have to do is select a color for the type. I'll leave it at this blue that's currently in the foreground color box, and use the Fill command. I'll use the shortcut again, Option Delete or Alt Backspace, and only the text on this type layer fill with color. So the lesson is that you don't have to labor over making selections or trying to paint in color if you've taken advantage of layers while building your web graphics. As long as you have the source file with individual pieces of artwork on separate layers, it's a snap to recolor using the fill techniques that I've shown you here.